Hey, I'm Higginbotham, LCSW, and welcome back to our last part of cognitive distortions and thinking errors. So, moving right into number 13, we've got fortune telling. What is a fortune telling? What does that mean? So fortune telling is trying to be able to tell the future of someone else. Hey, this is what's going to occur in your life, or this is what's going to occur in my life. And trying to come up with very specific things that somebody else can do or knows or says to be able to alleviate some anxiety or to change an outcome or to get a specific outcome. It's very highly unlikely that you can predict the future. You might have had some success in the past by analyzing patterns of behavior and looking at specific patterns of behavior that might come next, because there are a lot of pattern-based behaviors out there. Generally speaking, the more based upon patterns someone's behavior is, the more trauma is involved in those specific patterns of behavior. So that's kind of where that could come from. But you can't truly always predict the future. And if you can, come talk to us, because I'd like to have a conversation with you, and I want what you got. Bottom line is that when we look at fortune telling as a cognitive distortion, then trying to figure out what the future is normally based upon anxiety. All right, number 14, we've got overgeneralization. So overgeneralizing things is basically stereotyping things. What that means is that things are always good, things are always bad, very close to black and white thinking. A general statement on, I always do this, I always make bad grades, I always feel this way, I always do this, I always do that, is generalizing something. It's putting in a specific box, that way you can label it, that way you can feel better about it. People stereotype things, that way they can compartmentalize, that way they feel better about those things. Overgeneralizing falls into the same thing, where we come up with specific things, we look at them in a specific way, and we try to fix them, or we try to look at them and just leave them in a specific box. So overgeneralizing is thinking error number 14. And then last but not least, we've got labeling, very close to stereotyping. So if I look what labeling is, that is, and I look at a warehouse, it's going and putting specific names on specific things. And why do people put specific names on specific things, especially in warehouses? Because they want to organize them, because they want to know where they are, because they want to be able to go get those things quickly, because they want to be able to be efficient in regards to their delivery. Same thing with labeling. We put names on things, that way we can know where they're at, that way we can deliver those things efficiently. What that tells me is there's probably a lot of feelings and a lot of things going on in your brain, and we probably need to try to start sorting some of those things out. Because when we continue to label things just so they can fit in our brain, probably need to make a little bit more room. Probably need to take an inventory of what's going on in there, that way we can figure out what we need and what can go, what's useful and what's not as useful today. People engage in specific behaviors because there's a benefit to engaging in those behaviors. And sometimes those behaviors were learned in childhood. But if you take a behavior of a 5 or 6 year old, and then now you're 21 or 22 years old, those same behaviors don't have the same benefits. They might have had a benefit to reduce trauma and outcomes at an early age, but now that you're a little bit older, those behaviors don't yield the same outcomes, and maybe they yield maladaptive outcomes. So we want to look at being able to change those things. So therapy is a great resource. There are all kinds of great resources out there. You're welcome to continue to look at the videos on Harmonifi, because we got all kinds of other stuff as well. Cognitive distortions, these are cognitive distortions 1 through 15. It's the end of our 5-part series. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you in future videos.